In my earlier address, and my first rally in the Lower Bight, I alluded to 4 areas for which I have given some thought, and I thought I should expand on. But I'm only going to speak briefly on maybe 2 tonight, because I want you to know that each of these areas are more extreme, and the depth of them is vast. But in speaking with the constituents, you know, and I began to see their vision coupled with my vision and the vision of our leaders and this great party. I want to tell you, Bight people, that I look forward to working with all the communities of the Bight. I look forward to ensuring that your needs are not overlooked, that your ideas and suggestions are taken into consideration. Some of you shared with me during visits to your home concerns such as clogged drainage systems not functioning properly during rainy season or rainy days. Some areas we have, especially in the Lower Bight area, especially during school days when it rains, the children are unable to pass. We are going to be taking a look at that immediately. Street lights for your subdivision, Bosco Chan development, Leeward Heights development. Street lights are coming to your subdivision once the Progressive National Party is elected, when we are elected on November 9th. So you'll have those lights, and your park will also be looked at. We also recognize that there are no activities for your children to participate in that are within your reach. We know there are a lot of programs being offered, but some people just cannot afford to leave work on time or leave work at specific times to get their kids to these activities. I want you to know that I hear you. Jobs. I know that most of you young people long to work, but right now we have been distracted in every way in this country, and jobs are at a minimum. I want to say to you, Turks and Caicos Islanders, and to the Bight constituency in particular, the Progressive National Party supports not only additional jobs, but we support anyone that wishes to pursue their dream of entrepreneurship. I boast a lot to people about the persons that live in my community. But when I started this campaign, I did not realize the wealth of talent that lived within the Bight community. And I'm going to be a little bit selfish, Clay. But we have the world's best dive masters and boat captains. And I believe that these persons should be tooted, their horn should be tooted on every magazine that advertises the Turks and Caicos. I believe... Oh, watch it. Come on. And my people in the Bight who are dive masters and captains, you can hold me to that. I will ensure that your face is on the cover of those magazines and that tourism continues to be our #1 industry in the Turks and Caicos. Dead serious. You also shared with me the need to improve and enhance the educational system, to build more schools, introduce more programs that will meet the needs of our children. My people of the Bight, I want to say to you, I hear you. The Progressive National Party has education at the forefront, and the Bight community will see its full share of the pie when it comes to education. Okay! On the flyers, I listed partner for investments because you said you want to be able to embrace such opportunities. Whilst I cannot tell our investor when he comes to our shore that you must do business with John Brown, What I am going to do for you is I will ensure that through empowerment and education that your plan is the best plan that an investor wishes to review and consider when they come to these shores. They wouldn't bring their ideas only, but they will look at yours as well. Okay! My people of the Bight, I really didn't want to divert to this, but I didn't want to give Dr. Rufus all the, I didn't want him to only talk about it, so I wanted to talk about this a little bit. I just want to remind you that I am kind and I am friendly too. But it requires more than a kind and friendly person to represent you as a member of parliament in our legislative council. You require an individual who can get the job done. Okay! All the way. Some of you talked about a pension plan. I heard you on that too. But let me say this to you. We in the TCI have one of the best pension plans in the region through our NIB program. And guess whose administration this was introduced under? Come on, say it. The PNP. But of course we hear you, and we know, and we hear you, and we will certainly take a look at that as well. Our country has suffered much during this interim administration. But with God's help and your choice to select myself and our at-large team, which comprises of a notable surgeon. I just don't want people to just overlook the fact that our leader is just a doctor. He is a surgeon. When you are a surgeon, that's a specialty. So that means you have to do additional training. Isn't that right, Doc? That's right. Also, Carlos, I give you a doctor on your name. Carlos Simons, QC. When you have QC added to your name, what that means? That's one of the highest lawyers? Right. Washington Mizik, economist and strategist, financier. Royal Robertson. When you want to talk about the running of the government and how it should run in public service, ask Royal. Okay. And Wayne Garland. So please, people, on election day, do not forget, do not become distracted. The only team that is going to deliver, the only team that can continue to move this country on into progress like we have been doing before we were rudely interrupted is the Progressive National Party. If you can't spell all of my names, that's okay. If you can't say all of my names, that's fine with me. But just look for Porsha and the Shell.